I mean, yeah, that happened. And not a moment too soon. As I write this, we're just 2 days away from the official 50 series announcement. Whenever one of my videos starts with an unboxing, you know it's going to be something special. And this time, it's really special. What I've got here is a brand new sealed RTX 4080 Super that I snagged for a killer deal from a friend. Little did I know at the time, but the good karma was going to come full circle since this very PC got back to him. And whilst I'm doing this, I've gotta say I ended up really liking Palette's design aesthetic for this generation. They've massively toned down the gamery aesthetic, focusing instead on creating a high quality product. The result is a card that, in practice, is indistinguishable from Nvidia's Founder Edition or even the much more expensive premium brands like Asus ROG when it comes to performance. And believe me that this design was put to the test, courtesy of the case I selected, the Height Y60. Unbeknownst to me, the gap between the glass and the GPU in this case is only suitable for smaller cards. But despite the limited airflow, the RTX 4080 Super performed like a champ, staying far away from the red temperature zone. I can't say for sure whether that's due to Palette being particularly generous with their cooling solution or more likely Nvidia's strict design guidelines, which were originally tailored for Samsung's manufacturing process that was leagues behind what they eventually ended up with from TSMC. But either way, it works brilliantly. Next up is the motherboard. This isn't a new one, it's my personal board. For the past 2 years, it's been powering my PC alongside the 7950X3D. That CPU is now being evicted as this Gigabyte Gaming XAX motherboard will house a more gamer-focused 7800X3D that I pick up from CX, complete with a 5-year warranty. For storage, I opted for a 2TB Asus Predator NVMe drive, also from CX. It was absolutely brand new with just 2 power-ons, one likely at the factory and one during testing at CX. And thankfully this motherboard's heatsink is more than adequate for cooling the drive, as it previously handled my old MP600 SSD with ease. Now for the RAM. I can't remember the exact model, but it's a Corsair 6000 Mbps kit with RGB. Its main claim to fame is the RGB, to be honest. I was tempted to use a Hynix 4800 Mbps kit that runs 6000 Mbps CL30 with ease, but I decided not to gamble. The difference between CL34 and CL30 is minuscule, so I went with the safer option. For the PSU, I'm using a brand new 1000 watt unit from Gigabyte, one of the post-issues versions. There's not much more to say here, it's overkill, plain and simple. Cooling is handled by a brand new Corsair AIO. I debated whether to get one with the temperature readout, but I couldn't justify the extra cost. Even for such a high-end build, it's hard to pay 40 quid more for a purely cosmetic feature. The case for this build is a Height Y60, whose defining feature is its support for vertical GPU mounts only. I didn't realize this until I had it in my hand, and I let out a massive sigh of relief since I almost bought the same case on eBay, without the PCIe riser. Thankfully, I dodged that bullet as risers alone are selling for a whopping 80 quid. Installing everything wasn't terribly complicated. The Height Y60 is a high-end case with an excellent layout, making the build process a pleasure. This is also the first time I tried a white case with black components, and I think I'm converted. I can't believe I resisted this look for so long. It looks better than going all white or all black. And enough preamble, let's get into the all-important benchmarks. First up, as always, is Heaven. This time I wasn't sure what to expect aside from monitoring temperatures, as the RTX 4080 Super stats are frankly ridiculous. We're talking 330 FPS at 1440p while recording. And after 30 minutes I was satisfied that the card is so overbuilt that even with limited airflow, the system stayed thermally and acoustically stable. Esports titles like Rocket League are next. The card handled it effortlessly, running in the mid 400 FPS range. I don't know what else I can say here. If you're buying the system to play Rocket League, please reconsider. Fortnite, with all settings maxed out, cruised at over 120 FPS. Disabling hardware ray tracing, mostly a gimmick here, would boost performance even further. But honestly, at 120 FPS with super stable frame times, I wouldn't even bother. In 3D Mark Speedway, the RTX 4080 Super achieved 69.96 FPS. Obviously, the score was slightly reduced to the recording, but after running the built-in benchmark a few times, I'm satisfied that everything passed all the stress tests. Horizon Forbidden West looked absolutely stunning and ran smoothly at its highest settings. Unfortunately, I recorded it at the very lowest settings. Why? I've got no idea. This one's on me. At cinematic quality, with no frame generation, Black Myth Wukong delivered an impressive 54 FPS, 59 without recording. This is a brand new ultra demanding game with gorgeous visuals, and the card handled it brilliantly. After 5 years, we finally have an 80 class card that absolutely dominates control. It averaged 168 FPS with all RT options maxed out, albeit with DLSS 2.1 enabled. Assassin's Creed Mirage looked really good and ran flawlessly, averaging 159 FPS with DLSS enabled. A recent patch though has caused GPU underutilization across various systems, but hopefully the devs will fix that soon, and I have a funny feeling that will add a 20-30 FPS on top of this average. Farcry delivered the exact same 159 FPS on average without FSR. This game is ridiculously inconsistent performance-wise, but high-end hardware brought it to heel, even if the engine's resource management is still pretty poor. I threw in Shadow of the Tomb Raider in here just for fun. Despite its aging RT implementation, the game posted 180 FPS with smooth ray pacing. Dragon Age is new to my benchmarking lineup, and considering how good it is just out of the gate, I'm sure that it will continuously improve with patches. A demanded scripted scene at the start of the game pushed the GPU, resulting in an excellent 102 FPS. For a bit of context, a 3070 barely managed 28 FPS with the same settings. And finally Cyberpunk, which posted the best result I've ever seen on any PC I've built. 110 FPS at ultra settings without frame generation or path tracing. Frame generation is impressive and all, but still buggy in my experience, so I opted to leave it out of these benchmarks. And really that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.